Hi there, this is Sam of Core Yoga, and this is a 30 to 40 minute foundation flow yoga. We're going to build on the work that we've done in the last couple of weeks. So we spent some time a couple of weeks ago really feeling the foundation of the feet in contact with the floor and how that works through the body, allowing us to activate the core muscles in the center of the torso. And then last week we added an inner thigh activation, so really concentrating on engaging the muscles of the inner thighs to help pull our pelvis into a nice neutral alignment so that the spine can be nice and neutral on that strong and stable base. And today we're going to continue traveling up the torso and we're going to focus on that pelvis. So we're going to really focus on getting that pelvis into the right position and exploring a bit how it feels when we let it go, just like we did with the inner thighs last week, so that we can continue to fine-tune our alignment in our practice. So we're going to start on all fours actually. So coming to all fours and bringing the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. And just take a moment to get into your body. So sit your hips back towards your heels and then elongate your arms away from you to allow yourself to soften into a child's pose. And just feel a settling of the physical body and feeling a sensation of letting go of what's been going on in your day so far and what's left to come. So that we can spend the next 30 to 40 minutes really getting inside to really build our proprioception, our feeling and sensation of where our body is in space. From here, just walk those fingertips a little further forward. Press the fingertips down, raise the palms. Feel like you're making a spider shape with your hands and press those fingertips down. Then inhale a big breath into the belly and the back of the ribs. And as you exhale, feel that belly space draw towards the spine and feel the ribs get narrower. Couple more like that. Inhale deep into the belly and the back of the ribs. Exhale, let it go. And then one more, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Keep that belly a little contracted. Inhale, press the hands down and come back to all fours. Notice your hands are a little ahead of your shoulders and bring them back in line. Turn the inside edge of your elbows to face one another. For some, that'll be an easier practice than others. And close off your eyes and feel your pelvis. So just be here for a moment. Don't do anything. Just notice how the body responds to you being here. So are you feeling more weight on your hands or on your knees? Are you feeling a sense of stability or instability? What are the feet doing? Are the heels pointing out, pointing in? Are the toes tucked under? And just observe your natural stance. What's the chin doing here? Is it lifting up or is it tucking towards your chin? And then reconnect to that subtle activation of the lower belly, that drawing back in that belly space. And then take a deep breath wide into the ribs. And then exhale, hold it here, feel the belly draw a little stronger towards the spine. And inhale into the ribs. And then one more exhale, feel that belly draw in even more. Feel that little lift of your pelvic floor and start to draw to attention to your inner thighs. And then hold all of that, tops of the feet on the floor, just lift the knees a centimetre off the floor. So we're just starting to fire up the muscles in the front of the core, and you'll feel this also in your legs and your shoulders. So notice as it gets difficult, continue to breathe into that rib space. And then exhale, bring the knees softly to the floor. Now we'll go into movement cat-cows. Inhale, drop the pelvis towards the floor, open the chest, look up. Exhale, tuck the chin, push the floor away from you, chin to your chest. So keep the eyes closed and make the shapes first. So you can take an opportunity just to look at the screen so you know that you're making the correct shapes. And then link your breath with that movement. So as we inhale, we come into our cow pose. Then as we exhale, we take angry cat. And then getting further into what's going on in the body, feel and visualize the pelvis as though it's a bowl. And then as you exhale to push the floor away from you, the bowl is tipping, is the right way around. And as you inhale towards the floor, the bowl is tipping upside down. So you're able to keep the contents of the bowl in your angry cat. And then you're letting the contents tip onto the floor in your cow pose. So it's just really to help you tune in to the movement right now of the pelvis, which is where our focus is today. So then from here, we need to try and find neutral pelvis. Now we do this a lot on the floor, and we have the floor to help us. But now we're on all fours, it might feel a little more challenging. So when we find neutral pelvis, the back of our pelvis is in line with the floor, it's just a little bit elevated. I can activate the muscles in my belly. I can a little activate the muscles in my outer hips. And then holding on to that, just notice what happens to the pelvis as you push into downward facing dog with straight legs. And then come all the way back to the floor. So with straight legs, often we are tight in the back of our legs. And you might take this opportunity to look at the screen and notice when I come into down dog with straight legs, I've got a real arching in my spine. Actually, what's happening to my pelvis is it's coming out of neutral, and so now my spine has to do the work, and I take more load into my wrists, my arms, and my shoulders, and I'm barely taking any load into my legs. So come back to all fours, sit back on your heels, bring your hands behind you, interlace your fingers, and inhale, open through the chest. Let's just give these hands, these arms a little rest. And then with the hands connected, as you exhale, just take a little twist to the left. And then inhale back to the center. And exhale, take a little twist to the right. Then inhale back to the center. And then inhale, reach your hands up to the sky, look up. Exhale, tuck the chin, bring the hands behind the skull. Inhale, press the skull into the hands and open through the chest, reminding yourself not to overarch the back. And then from here, exhale, let it go. So we're going to come back to that all fours and come back into that downward facing dog. But this time, as we go into down dog, we're going to keep our knees pretty bent and press our hands into the floor so we have a much straighter spine. So you're going to inhale, come back to all fours, and then exhale, keep the knees bent, lift the hips high, push the floor away from you. Inhale, now start to notice where the pelvis is, and notice that the pelvis stays in line with the spine. So if right now we're upside down, but if we were in a lunge, we would have that pelvis and that spine in the same alignment.
If we were in a lunge with a forward-facing torso, so we're reaching forward, we would have that pelvis and that spine in the same alignment. Next time, come all the way up, hold it here. So now you've got your knees bent, you might think, well, that's harder work in my legs, for sure. Push the floor away from you with your hands, and then allow your heels to sink towards the floor without creating an arch in that upper back. So you'll notice that in my downward facing dog, 90% of the time I have a bend in my knee. That's just the way I can get my pelvis into that position because of tightness in my body caused by the sports that I do. I counteract that by using yoga to create the length, so I hate to imagine what it would be like if I didn't practice. Look to the thumbs and slowly walk the feet towards your hands. Allow your head to hang heavy, grab your elbows, take a little rock from side to side. Just let go of that tension. So a little bit technical to begin with. Noticing that we came into down dog a few times from all fours. I really like that sense of finding the appropriate distance between our hands and our feet as we go into down dog, particularly if we're new to yoga. We're really unsure of where to place the hands and the feet, and that all fours to down dog is a really nice way to feel the appropriate distance. Inhale, open the spine, halfway lift, and exhale, fold forwards. Then inhale, reach the hands to the sky and look up. And exhale, bring the palms together in the heart space. So close off the eyes here. Bring your hands to your hips. We're going to tune into the pelvis in standing, and then we're going to flow through our sun salutations, really opening up the body, and then we're going to come back to pelvis. So with your hands on your hips, your thumbs behind you, your fingers in front of you, just jump up and down a few times and then stop. And then stand where you think is the most comfortable place for your body. And then notice what that feels like. And then notice that maybe you've got a forward tilt of your pelvis. Maybe the weight is in your toes. Maybe you've got a bit of a backward tilt in your pelvis, and maybe the weight is in your heels. So either way, remind yourself of that even balance under the feet we worked on a couple of weeks ago. Remind yourself of that inner thigh activation we worked last week. And then feel the muscles in front and behind the pelvis. And like you're squeezing those two spaces towards one another. And that helps to bring that pelvis into a nice neutral space. So now the back of the pelvis is perpendicular to the floor. And then just bring the palms back to the heart space. Draw the back of the skull a little bit back and just feel that. Breathe into the rib space. We'll carry ourselves through a few sun salutes, and then we'll come back to this sensation of alignment. Inhale, reach the hands up, look up. Exhale, soften the knees and fold forwards. Inhale, halfway you lift. Exhale, forward you fold. Inhale, push the floor away from you, reach the hands to the sky. And exhale, palms together in the heart space. So one more like that, half salute. Inhale, through the back of the throat constriction. Exhale, fold forwards, getting that Ujjayi sound. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up to the sky and look up. And exhale, palms together. Into lunges. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, soften the knees and fold. Inhale, halfway you lift. Exhale, right leg steps back, right knee drops down. Stay down with your hands. Inhale, just squeeze and open the shoulder blades. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, lift the sit bones, create that length in the spine. And then feel the front of the pelvis and draw it towards your lower belly and draw it towards the back of the pelvis. From here, as you exhale, look to your right thumb and step your right foot forward, drop your left knee. Stay here. Inhale, just open the chest a little. Exhale, push the foot into the floor, draw the left foot to the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach the hands up and look up. Exhale, soften the knees all the way back to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, left foot back, left knee down. This time, inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hands down to down dog. Bend the knees, lift the hips, breathe here. Then feel that sense of the back of the pelvis. And a little bit squeeze your bum here. And then notice how that feels in the pose. So we've got front of the pelvis, belly, transverse abdominis, hugging back. Back of the pelvis, glutes, a little bit engaged. And look to the left thumb. As you exhale, step the left foot forward, drop the right knee. Inhale, reach your hands up and look up. Exhale, hands down, step the right foot forward to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up to the sky, now with the high lunges. Exhale, soften the knees and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, right foot steps back, right knee stays lifted. Stay here as you inhale. And then exhale, step back to plank. Inhale in your plank. Exhale, lower your knees, your thighs and your belly. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Notice if you have a habit of straightening those legs. Bend the knees, lift the hips, lengthen the spine. Pull that lower belly in, a little bit, squeeze the bum. So these activations aren't so huge that you can't keep them up. As you exhale, step the right foot forward, keep the left knee lifted. Inhale, stay here. Exhale, step the left foot forward and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, lift up, look up. Exhale, soften the knees and fold. Into crescent lunge, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, left foot steps back. Inhale, push the floor away from you, high lunge. Exhale, hands down, plank. Inhale in plank. Exhale, lower all the way to the floor. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Soften those knees, lengthen the spine. Hug the belly back, squeeze the bum. And then as you exhale, left foot steps forward, right knee stays lifted. Inhale, push the floor away from you, high lunge. Exhale, hands down, right leg steps forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up, lift up, look up. Exhale, palms together, building on this. Inhale, lift hands to the sky. Exhale, maintain the same rhythm of breath. Inhale, halfway lift, even when we get technical. Exhale, hands down, right leg back, right knee down, hands to your hips. Inhale, bring the torso up straight. With the hands on the hips, make sure those hips are even. So one's not tilted in one direction. Now we felt feet here, we felt inner thighs here. Now feel that pulling back of the belly and a little activation of the back of the hips. The right side will be more active than the left side. Hold that. Inhale, lift the hands up to the sky. Exhale, tuck the chin, interlace the hands, bring them behind the back of the head. Inhale, keep all of that in the pelvis and press the head into the hands to open a little more through the top of the chest, to activate a little more the muscles in the back of the neck. One more breath here, inhale. Exhale, hands down to the floor. Tuck under the back toe and push back in the back heel. So now we've come to a forward fold. It doesn't actually mean our pelvis is tilted in any different direction. So feel the sense of that pelvis as a bowl and that spine growing out of the bowl. Keep that, take a breath in, and then exhale, hands down, downward facing dog. Inhale, travel forwards to high plank, and exhale, lower all the way to the floor. Make sure the fingertips are in line with the armpits. Tuck the chin and bring the forehead to the floor. Neutral pelvis in a cobra is pretty difficult, particularly if we're tight in our front body. So feel your pubic bone now and push it into the floor. As you do so, feel the front of your pelvis and the muscles in between those two bony landmarks, and draw that space back towards the spine. You'll feel then an activation in your bum muscles. Keep all of that, keep it as it is. Inhale, raise the head and the chest. So we've been here, stay here. We've been here by pressing the feet into the floor, by activating the inner thighs. And those things don't change. And next week we'll work on upper body. But we're just feeling and finding and understanding different parts of our body to get alignment through the poses. As you exhale, push the floor away from you, downward facing dog. So from here, set your dog with the knees as bent as the knees need to be. And then inhale, straight leg, right glutes active, raise the right leg to the sky. Exhale, look at your right thumb. Step the right foot forward, drop the left knee. Hands to your hips as you inhale into low lunge. Feel the pelvis. Bring those two sides of the hips in alignment. Pull the lower belly in and squeeze the back of the hips forward. So now I'm contained around my pelvis. Inhale, keep that, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, interlace the fingers, tuck the chin, hands behind your head. Inhale, open through the chest, look up. Exhale, hold it here. Notice if your attention to the space at the front and the back of the pelvis moves away. And then notice what that feels like in your practice. As you exhale, hands down. From here, inhale, push back in the back heel and lift the back leg. You're still drawing the lower belly back and you're still squeezing the back of the pelvis forward. As you exhale, step the left foot forward and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach the hands up and look up. Exhale, soften the knees and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, left foot steps back, left knee to the floor. Hands to your hips, inhale. Set that pelvis, pull the belly back, squeeze the bum. Inhale, reach the hands towards the sky, either side of your ears, and then take the gaze up there. And then let that attention consciously in the front and the back of the hips go. Feel what that feels like in your pose. And then without doing anything else, pull the belly in, squeeze the bum, and then feel what that feels like in your pose. Let it go, notice. Everything feels heavy and the arms drop down. As you re-engage, notice everything feels more upward, more in control and more active. Exhale, hands to the floor. Tuck under the back toe, push back in the back heel. Now from here, feel the front and the back of the pelvis and pull those spaces towards one another. You shouldn't have much weight on the floor because everything's being contained. Keep the fingers either side of the right foot and then just let go of that tension in the front and the back of the pelvis. Notice where your hips move to. Notice what happens in your shoulders. Notice what happens in the weight of your hands. And then simply pull back the belly, squeeze the back of the pelvis, and notice what happens there. Let it go, and then re-engage it. Nice. Hold that, hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Inhale, travel the shoulders forward. Exhale, lower all the way to the floor. Bring the hands behind you, hands, palms facing down. We're going to come into a half locust. So feel the pubic bone, draw the belly back, pull the pelvis in. And then inhale, raise the head and the chest. You're still looking at the top of the mat, the hands are lifted. And then from here, be careful if you have lower back issues, don't do this. But if you want to see what it feels like, let go and feel what that feels like. And then pull the belly in and squeeze the back of the pelvis. Reinstate that engagement. Let it go. Be mindful if you have back issues. Then reinstate it. Good. Feel that. Hold that. Bring the hands back to the front of the mat. Tuck the toes. Downward facing dog. Bend the knees as much as your body needs to. Push the hands into the floor. Elongate that spine. Inhale, raise the left leg to the sky. Look to the right, left thumb. Exhale, step the left foot forward. Drop the right knee. Hands to your hips. Inhale, come up. Exhale, pull the belly back. Squeeze the back of the hips. Inhale, reach the hands up, look up. So Anjali Asana lunge, super simple. We can do this with activation in our body and we can do it without. And this is what the two feel like. And until I felt that as a new practitioner, I might not understand why it's important for me to be like this. Let go of that attention in the front and the back of the pelvis and feel the difference that makes. Then draw the lower belly in, squeeze the back of the hips, and notice. Let it go. Continue to do these movements with your breath, and then re-engage it. And then last time, let it go. And then re-engage it. Bring the hands to the floor, tuck under the back toe and push back in the back heel. So now I'm in a low runner's lunge. I've got my lower belly engaged, my back of the hips engaged. And then I'm going to let it go and I'm going to feel the difference in my entire body. Now this side, you might notice different stuff to the other side. As you pull back that belly and squeeze that back of pelvis, notice what happens. And as you let it go, notice what happens. The movements, the changes will be minimal. Re-engage, feel. Disengage, feel. Last one, re-engage, feel. Hold it here. Exhale, step the right foot forward and fold. Inhale, halfway you lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your hands to the sky and look up. Exhale, soften the knees, fold forwards. Inhale, halfway you lift. Exhale, hands down. Step the both legs back to a high plank. From a high plank, take an inhale breath. Exhale, lower all the way to the floor. So again, only do this if you know your back can take it. And as soon as you feel any uncomfortable twinges, then let it go. But feel that connection in front and back of pelvis. Then inhale, raise your shoulders and your legs. And then as you exhale, release the front and back of the pelvis. Now you can look at my body or you can feel it in your body. What happens when you engage those muscles? And what happens when you let those muscles go? And I don't know about you, but I feel way more in control when I have those muscles engaged than when I let them go. Bring the hands to the floor, tuck under the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, raise the right leg to the sky, look to the center of your mat. Exhale, step the right foot to the center of the mat. Bring the left foot parallel to the back of the mat. Warrior two. Hands on your hips, straighten your right leg. Feel the pelvis, bring it into alignment. So often the front of the hip point drops down, lift it up. And then when you do that, you'll notice your shoulders are stacked on top of your hips. Let go of the back and the front of the pelvis. Notice how that will cause an arch in your back. And then pull the back of the pelvis forward and the front of the pelvis back. Keep all of that, arms out wide. Keep all of that, gaze to the right hand. Keep all of that, front shin vertical by bending that right knee. Hold it there. Warrior two. Inhale. Exhale. Hold it there. Reverse the warrior. Inhale. Exhale. Hold it there. Back to warrior two. Hold it there. Side angle pose. Breathe. Warrior two. We want to feel movement of the upper body on this super stable base. So one more time. Inhale, reverse the warrior. We're not looking for your deepest variation. Feel stability. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, side angle pose. Notice that I'm not going very far towards my front leg, because if I do, I might kind of collapse into it. And this is foundational. We should be feeling that alignment in our bodies. From here, inhale, straighten both legs. Turn the toes so that they're parallel with the front of the mat. Inhale, open through the chest. Pull the belly back, squeeze the bum. Exhale, just let the belly go. Let the bum go. Do you feel that pelvis tilt forward? So, pull it back. Squeeze the back of the pelvis, push it forward. Then notice you can open now more through the chest. Let it go. Notice what happens. Pelvis tilts forward, shoulders come rounded. One more time. Belly back, back of pelvis, open through the chest. Keep that, hands on your hips. Exhale, extend your pelvis back. So you're lifting now, you are tilting the pelvis. It is tilting forward, but you'll notice your spine is in perfect alignment with that pelvis. You have lifted the bowl and you've tipped it on its side. You've lifted the bowl up and over the head of the femur bone so that you can control those muscles front and back. Then bring your left hand to the back of your pelvis, the right hand to the floor or to a block. And then inhale, keep the back of the pelvis where it is. Twist from the waist and turn to the side as much as your body will allow, without moving the pelvis. Feel that in your body. Lower belly pulling back towards the spine. Muscles underneath your hands engaged. Now they're not in massive contraction, they're just holding the body stable here. They're in isometric contraction. And then exhale, bring that left hand to the floor, the right hand to the pelvis. You are now using your rotational muscles of your core to twist. You are not going into your deepest variation because that would require movement of the pelvis. For a beginner, it's super important to become really tuned in to the core activation. to protect the body. And right under your right hand right now is a really, what's the word I'm looking for? If I was in class, I'll ask you. It's a joint that can cause quite a lot of back issues if we pull it too far and push it too far. It has very little movement in that SI joint. Bring your hands to the floor, take a breath in. As you exhale, soften the knees, come all the way up. Turn your right foot so it's parallel with the short end of the mat, the left foot so it's facing forward. Sort your hips out. Bring your pelvis into alignment. From there, pull the belly back and push the pelvis forward. So squeeze that pelvis. Then let it go. Notice what happens. When I let it go, actually on this side, it tilts too. Pull it back and then release it. And then pull it back and hold it there. Now we're not going to move the activation of the muscles in the front and the back and the pelvis. I'm just simply going to bend that left knee until my left shin is vertical. Arms out to the side, torso is on top of hips. So I'm not going to move my hands forward in this movement at all. I'm going to go from side to side, but my pelvis is going to stay exactly where it is. Gaze to the left fingertips, feel that. Keep that belly pulling in, keep those hips engaged. Then inhale, reverse the warrior. Not super deep. Exhale, back to warrior two. Inhale, side angle pose. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, warrior two, last one. Inhale, side angle. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, hands to your hips. Turn both the feet so that they're facing forward. Inhale, pull the belly in, squeeze the hips open through the chest. Exhale, send the hips back. Keep the hands on your hips. From here, allow the back of the shoulders to be a little bit active. Squeeze that belly, squeeze the back of the hips. Stay here. And then as you exhale, release the hands to the floor. Heel toe your feet to the center of the mat. Bend your knees. Bring your bum down to the floor. Extend your legs out in front of you. Bring the fingers behind the sit bones. Open through the chest. Press the heels down, draw the toes towards the shins. Feel the length in the spine. And then inhale, keep that length, reach the hands to the sky. Just like you did in your forward fold, so I'm going to bend my knees, I advise you do too. Exhale, tilt the pelvis and allow the spine to go with it. So we're not bending from here or from here, we're tilting from the pelvis. So keep reaching the fingertips forwards. And keep coming forward with that neutral pelvis, that neutral spine. Press the heels down and draw the heels towards your bum. And then as you exhale, come all the way out. Bend your right knee, drop your right knee out to the side. Keep the right foot and press it a little bit into the left inner thigh. Same thing again. Inhale, reach the hands high. Belly in, back of pelvis active. Exhale, up and over the top of the femur bone. Bend the knee if you need to. Another alternative here is that you sit on a little block or a towel rolled up, and that will help the pelvis tilt over. So rather than coming down here and rounding everything, we're creating a sense of strength and length in the muscles. As you exhale, come all the way up. Bend the right knee. Take your left hand to the outer edge of the right knee. A little twist to the right. We're not here long. And then extend that right leg back out. Bend the left knee. Bring the left knee out to the side. Press the sit bones down and inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Bend that right knee, press the heel down, draw the heel towards your pelvis as you reach your hands forward into a diagonal. So everything's working here. I'm not hanging out in this forward fold. I am nicely using a sense of activation in my muscles to create the shape that is with neutral alignment of the pelvis and the spine. So I build strength on a strong foundation. You do that too. Inhale, reach the hands up. Bend the left knee. So bring the left knee in, right hand on the outer edge of the left knee, and just take a twist to the left. Lovely. De-rotate. Bend both knees. Draw your bum towards your knees and come to lie down. Take the knees out to the side, Supta Baddha Konasana. Hands on your belly or elbows out in line with your shoulders and fingertips facing backwards. Close off your eyes. Now let go of that tension in around the pelvis. So just like in the first week, we've really worked into pushing the floor away from us with our feet. So we've really worked specific muscles in the feet and the ankles, and then all the muscles that build and activate on top of that. And then last week, that sense of use of in the thighs and how that changed stuff both up and down the chain. We continue that movement and activation in two different directions this week as we've worked at really feeling the muscles in the front and the back of the pelvis. Now let it all go. And so 2 options. You stay here for a further 2 minutes, or you now make a transition into Shavasana. So whichever variation you choose, make a decision now and take that variation. And then allowing the breath to return to its natural ebb and flow. Allowing the body to let go, hang out, be heavy. And allowing the mind that has focused intently on the muscles in the front and the back of the pelvis. Allow that mind to become a little more still. And to focus now on the intake and exhalation of air, your breath in and out of the body. From whatever pose you took as your last restorative pose, slowly bring the knees in towards the chest and give yourself a little hug, a little rock from side to side. And then when you're ready, rocking over to one side and pushing yourself up and finding your way into a comfortable seat. Bring the palms together in the heart space. Take a big breath into the body
And as you exhale, bow the head. Thank you for taking time to share and learn with me today. Namaste.